To everything under the heaven, there is a time, there is a season. There's a time to be born, there is a time to die. There is a time to plant, there is a time to pluck. There is a time for trouble also. But human beings, the way we are, the way we want things to be, we don't want trouble any at all. But I've come to say to you today, in God's scheme of things, there is a day that trouble will come.
Thank you for joining us for another series on Revelation for Elevation. The Word of God is power. On this channel, you are guaranteed to be blessed, challenged, and elevated by the undiluted Word of God. The messages delivered by Reverend Augustine Momo will certainly enrich your spiritual journey. If you are new to this channel, hit the subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so that you can be notified of new messages each week. Remember to like the message you're about to listen to and share it with a friend for their elevation. Blessings.
Revelation for elevation. The Word of God is power. This week, I want to begin a new series, which I title, The Lord Will Answer You in the Day of Trouble. The Lord will answer you in the day of trouble. I'm going to read from the book of Psalm 20, from verse 1 to 3. But for this week, I will focus on verse number 1. Psalm 20, verse 1. The Lord hear thee in the day of trouble. The name of the God of Jacob defend thee. The Lord hear you. The Lord hear you. I pause to say to you today, either you like it or not, either you are good or you are bad, either you fast, either you don't fast, I have come to tell you the way God has fabricated our life, the way God has orchestrated things on this planet, there will be a day of trouble. Either you like it or not, either you believe it or not, there is a day that trouble will come knocking on your door. Not because you have done anything wrong, not because you didn't do anything right. It is just the way life is. Just like we read in the book of Ecclesiastes, where the Bible said, to everything under the heaven, there is a time, there is a season. There's a time to be born, there is a time to die. There is a time to plant, there is a time to pluck. There is a time for trouble also. But human beings, the way we are, the way we want things to be, we don't want trouble any at all. But I've come to say to you today, in God's scheme of things, there is a day that trouble will come. I am happy that He didn't say that may the Lord hear you in the days. No, He said in the day. So there's gonna be a day of trouble, and that day will come, either you like it or not. So it is better for you to have a mindset. It is better for you to say to yourself, when that day come, Lord, I'm depending on you. Please, when I call, hear me. When I cry, respond to me. When I run to you, because the Bible said the name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous run in and they are saved. If I come running to you that day, Lord, don't shut the door against me. When I come to you that day, Lord, answer me speedily. Answer me quickly. The Bible says, call upon me in the days of trouble. I will answer you and I will show you great and mighty things which you know not. The psalmist speaking in verse 7 of this chapter, he says some trust in chariots, some trust in horses, but we remember the name of the Lord our God. In the days of trouble, where is your mind? Who do you remember in the days of trouble? Where your mind runs to, whatever you remember in the days of trouble, that is where your trust and anchor is. In the days of trouble, who do you remember? Who do you call? Is it the government or your husband or your friend? In the days of trouble, call to the great monarch of Zion. He is the deliverer. He is the one who said, if you call me on that day, I will show you great and mighty things which you know not. In fact, in the book of Psalms, the Bible says, O Lord, thou who hearest prayer, unto you shall all flesh come. In the days of trouble, please, you need to call on the great monarch of Zion. Let me move on here as I begin to explain to you. There's a man in the Bible, his name is Job. Job said this in Job chapter number 14, verse number 1. He said, a man that is born of a woman is of a few days and full of trouble. Job, I'm sure you know who Job is. This was a man that the Bible recorded that is a perfect man. He was one of the richest men in the east, in the land of Uz. This man is so wealthy, so rich. But one day, all that he had perished. Trouble came into his life. Everything he had perished one day, to the point that his wife advised him. His wife made a recommendation to him. His wife said, because of this trouble, that everywhere you turn is trouble, your children gone, all your children dead, all your influence, affluence, wealth, houses, everything is gone. And she made a recommendation to him. She said to him, my husband, I love you so much. Why not curse God and die? Why not curse God and die? Now, somebody will have been saying, that's a wonderful woman who wants to save her husband from pain and all of that. She said, why not curse God and die? Listen to this. You see, I was thinking she should have said, why don't you curse God? Why don't you curse God and let us die? But she was saying, you curse God and die. Because why? She wanted to remarry. She was tired of all the trouble. She was tired of all the problem. And her recommendation to her husband is that husband should curse God and let him die. Thank God that he rebuked her and said to her, you speak like one of those foolish women. And in verse number 20 of Job chapter 1, the Bible says, Job rent his garment, Job shaved his head and fell to the ground, and he began to worship. In the days of trouble, can you worship God? In the days of trouble, can you call on him? To worship is to bow down and call. To worship is for you to submit yourself to his will. So in the days of trouble, that should be your posture. Maintain a posture of worship, a posture of submission, not a posture of complaint. And that is why Job was able to pen this. He said, because he was speaking from experience, that is man that is born of a woman is of a few days, and those few days are full of trouble. I have come to tell you tonight, even though Job said a man that is born of a woman, for I and you who are born again, we are not only born of a woman, we are born of the Spirit. Because it's not only in this life we have hope. We have hope in what we call yonder place, eternity beyond, where the light shines so bright. So for you as a child of God, the trouble you face in this life, those trouble actually are orchestrated. Some of them, not all. some of the trouble you go through in this life is a mechanism that God set in place to throw you forward. I've come to tell you today that a man that is born of a woman, it doesn't matter whatever it is, trouble will come knocking. But remember that Jesus promised his disciple, he said, in this world you will have tribulation. He said, but be of good cheer. I have overcome for you. In fact, remember when Jesus was going, he said, I am not to go to heaven, but I will send you another comforter. Another comforter. Why comforter? You know what a comforter is? A helper. He's saying comforter because he knows that I and you will go through some trouble in this life. And Jesus is saying to us ahead of time, he said, I'm going to the Father. Trouble will not finish. When trouble comes, there is a comforter to comfort you as a child of God. That is what I've come to tell you tonight. In the days of trouble, God will answer you because the comforter has been released in your direction. God bless you. I see you next week.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Revelation for Elevation. We trust that you were edified by the message. Here, we are a community and we would love to hear from you and pray with you on your spiritual journey with Christ. You may contact Reverend Augustine Momo and submit your prayer request to revelation4elevation23@gmail.com. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and follow us on all social media platforms at Revelation for Elevation. Stay tuned for another empowering message, and until then, stay blessed.